Hi, it's me, Dora V here, and today it's time for the vampire show. Hooray, into the vampire. And so we open up with a doc. And there's talk about Armand and who he may actually be. Some say it's Rashid, but to be honest, I don't know. At the time, I kind of thought, no, maybe it's actually the doc. The doctor. I was not here. Oh, but we have to remember, he's not here, okay? The doc is not here. But Rashid is there. But, I'll go ahead and tell you what I think later, towards the end, because it looks like the fandom was right. And I was not. However, I thought Armand had red hair. Maybe he dyed it. I don't know. So anyway, like the cloud gift, and then that's basically like flying in the air. I think for vampires to have that ability, they either need to be bats or very, very old. So I guess to the adaptation, Lestat is old enough to have that, so that's fine. Whatever is cool. I gotta do that. So I take that's not really a big deal, and then Claudia is just taking care of Louis because she loves him. And they definitely have a very solid bond. So, they have a very solid bond. And so she feeds this goat to him, tries to, and he's chasing it around, and it's so adorable. It actually reminds me of like Rocky, which is like completely unrelated. That if you can catch a chicken, you can catch greased lightning. The poor Louis doesn't catch the goat though, but it's absolutely adorable. Nice comic relief. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit of that in this episode, and I do appreciate that. It's always nice to have comic relief, but that goat was real cute. And the goat lives, by the way, so ha ha ha. And then Lestat, of course, appears because it's Lestat, and he does what is so typical with people like him. And it's like he gives gifts and the cars and these nice things, and he says things that I'm sure that those of you in similar situations, you might have heard of it. It's, oh, I've changed. I've changed in this and all these things, these nice things. There's a term for it. It's called hoovering. And it's trying to get you sucked back in. But let's be real. We all would get sucked back in with Lestat. Because like you'll find some more things about him that kind of explains why he's a bit naughty. Or more so than he intended to be. But that is what does happen to vampires, though. You think you're gonna be Louis, but nah, you're gonna be Lestat or Claudia. Come on. So I've told you that already. The thing about Claudia, though, is she saw right through it too. She saw through it. She knew this just gonna be the same old naughty Lestat, naughty Lestat. You know how he is. He's naughty. And she saw, and then he sings like this song that honestly, like, I found it cringeworthy. But I guess we just have different tastes is all. And that may very well be the case, but I wasn't. And when Louis discovered, like, oh man, he was so angry. It's like he used a lover's voice, in the duet. Yeah, at least I knew it would piss Louis off. And yeah, it's exactly what happened. Someone was Anger Noodle, and he paid a visit, to Antoinette, that turned out to be her name, and I thought, well, she sounds awfully familiar. I was like, wasn't she a vampire? Like, was she the one that became Claudia's friend? But I could swear that lady's name was Madeline. But anyway, yes, and he does tell her about Magnus. I think in that case, let me think. In the case of Magnus, he did create Lestat, but I don't recall Lestat being captured. Like, I think he was just straight up attacked and became a fledgling to Magnus. Yeah, because this talk about, like, oh, a slave and all of that. I'm not certain, but I do know that soon after Lestat becomes a vampire, Magnus he actually does die, but I don't think Lestat kills him. I think Magnus does, in fact, take his own life, because he just felt so empty, I guess. Whatever. But if I recall, boy, it's been so long since I've read the Vampire Lestat, and I have to remember this is an adaptation, so... Yeah, so there is that. But, she still sees through him. Yeah, and that's a really, not particularly surprising, because Louis is a bit biased, where Claudia is not so much biased. And I actually, they do talk about Nicholas, and I'm like, oh, now that's a surprise. Because I honestly don't recall Lestat ever mentioning Nicholas to anybody until his point of view. Yeah, you don't get to see or hear of Nicholas until you see his... Yeah, so that was a very, wait, what now? That's a bit of a shock. Really? So the story behind that is that yes, they were lovers, and I think they do kind of, they drift apart, and Nicholas, his hands are cut off, and then he just jumps into a fire and dies, and Lestat has just been looking for him for years. So he might have loved Nicholas more than Louis. I do. I'm inclined to believe that Claudia is definitely right here, but that's still it's interesting to see that mentioned, because I didn't think that would be the case, but it was. Well, you see it, you saw it, Nicholas is mentioned. So that gave me the wowies, and it's very... So at any rate, let's see, she's right about Lestat, yeah. Again, she suspected that he was just being a smart ass. Because the vampire is, technically dead, undead. They're dead, right? Yes, they are. They are very, very dead. Haha, twisted it. So, and that does make me think that it's Antoinette. I know that name sounds familiar. I could swear I've heard it before. I could swear that I have. It's I could swear. I just don't remember where. Be nice if I could remember. But I don't, because duh. So anyway, moving right along. Gift for Daniel. Yeah, I think we all know what that gift is. And I am almost positive, that does happen. I just don't remember. Why can't I remember it? Why can't they be smart? I just don't remember. It's frustrating, but I'm almost positive he does. I just don't remember what becomes of him after that. I just don't know. So, but yeah, let's just say that if it does happen, no one should be shocked, because I wouldn't be. So then Claudia does attempt to leave. Oh god, that's so fabulous. Yeah, because you go, girl. I can't say I blame you. She was so happy, but then she hears things happening. I wonder what that could be. Certainly didn't sound very pleasant. It sounded yucky. But then Lestat enters. Enter Lestat, and oh my god, I swear, everything he does, it's like he could be taking a dump, and there'd be flair, there'd be style, and it's just absolutely hilarious. It's great, and of course very threatening, and funny, and threatening. And the only thing is that this is definitely an adaptation thing, because I do suspect, like, the purists would probably say the same thing I would, is I don't think he'd do that. And well, he did. At least in the adaptation. But whatever the case, he did it for Louis. That's obvious enough. Like, that's clear to pretty much anyone. You know, he did it for Louis to bring him back. And a no hurt doggo. When I saw that dog, I was like, no hurt doggo. When people will hate your guts forever if you hurt doggo. Yeah, tear a guy's head off. That's cool. But no hurt doggo. You hurt doggo, you die. Got that? I mean, he didn't hurt doggo though. So that was cool. However, it's very symbolic because he says, back to your cage. Back to your cage. Because that is exactly where Claudia ends up. And one thing I like to point out is when Lestat says, I'll turn your bones to dust, he'd do it. Believe it, Claudia. He 100% would do it. And he is more than capable of it. And it's just so matter-of-factly, too. There's just fact. It wasn't even a threat. Like, it's just a statement of fact. More than anything. It was so well delivered, too. Like, oh my god. But he would do it, though. Count on it. And then he's sitting there, like, screaming and raging, because, you know, Lestat's a big gay baby and a brat. That they don't call him the brat prince because they felt like it. So, I mean, yeah, he is actually a lot more discriminating about his kills than it's let on. But whatever. That happens later. You know, it's like like I said, he does kind of grow up a bit, but he's still a brat prince. So at any rate, yeah, he's oh, Claudia is this and that and spoiled and blah. And it's like, Lestat, you're talking about yourself, but you'll never admit it. Because you're Lestat. And we all know how you are, you naughty boy. You are a good musician, though. Nice deep voice, I'll give you that. Let me see here. Yeah, I'll give you that. You know, we're still manipulative, we know. You just have the charm. It's like drinking antifreeze. It's so poisonous, and yet it does have a good taste to it. Yeah, blarg. But yeah, he's talking about himself. Come on. But then, at the end, when there's a flashback when Daniel was young, you do see Rashid again. And I'm like, welp. That tells me that looks like he may very well be Armand. Well, okay, fine. I guess you win the prize. I guess he's Armand after all. Still looking very young, and these things are thinking I could have sworn he's a redhead. Maybe he dyed his hair, I have no idea. But yeah, if I do recall correctly, that is actually pretty faithful to the books. They do stick together for a while. However, at the time they meet Armand, this is when Louis is with Claudia, and, well, you'll see, really. But man, this episode was just absolutely fantastic. I was just like, no, commercial, stop it. Actually, it's probably a good thing, because I kind of had to stew over certain things and think of certain things, because I do that. So, but still, it's like it didn't feel like an hour. It felt like less than that. It's like, that's not an hour. Are you kidding me? You didn't feel that way. So, at any rate, let's see here. Come on up. It didn't feel that way to me. Do I think this will win awards or be nominated? Yes, I do. But that's gonna have to wait. And with that, I am done. Excellent episode. In fact, all the episodes are really good. And I know that next week is the season finale? Okay, just 7 episodes? Well, maybe that's for the best. So, that'll do for now. See you later. Goodbye.